Hey everyone, we are in unprecedented times here where a lot of people right now are out of a job or they've had to take reduced salaries. So this video is actually to help you guys out on where to save most in your monthly expenses if you don't know where to start. I will also give you some ideas on how to go about it so you can save and build that nest egg for the future. I would suggest that before you start saving, take a few minutes and add up all your monthly expenses. Look at your credit card, your bills, your checks, and add them all up in an Excel spreadsheet. Or if you're using mint.com, I think that it'd be wise to have like a baseline so we can compare your future saving to what you usually spend. Even if you did this, you are way ahead of the game than most people. There are a lot of people out there who spend their hard-earned dollars and can't even begin to tell you where all their money went at the end of the month. I think for some people, after tabulating their expenses, it will be a total shock to see where all the money went. I remember I did this and I was shocked at the amount of money I was spending out on weekends with friends, whether it's restaurants, bars, and other silly stuff. For the month, when you implement one of these saving strategies, compare it to your original monthly expenses and see how much you saved. My last tip, just like working out, start small, ease into this if you're not used to it at all or if this is new to you. Just like lifting weights, you don't want to start benching and squatting huge amounts in the beginning. You still want to function correctly out in the real world. So if you're new to saving, start small. Cutting out big ticket items might be a shock to your general way of life. And really, the goal is to be more mindful of your spending habits and save over time. If the bar is low, it's easier to do. Build up those saving muscles over time. Before I jump into the 5 tips on where to save, I want to show you why I'm picking the tips I'm picking. There's a strategy behind it. So if you check out this pie chart, you will see that most of our expenses come from housing and transportation. Housing takes up 33% and transportation 16%. You'll see groceries and restaurants on the bottom both add up to 13%. So if you add up those 3 areas, it comes out to be 62%, which is the bulk of your monthly expenses. My tips will be concentrating in these areas because that's where your money is going to most. If we knock down these big areas, you'll be saving the most from your paychecks or your income. The goal is to get you to a financially healthier place in the future. So we're going to start off in the smallest category, which is the groceries and the restaurants. My first tip is reduce the times you go out to eat to restaurants. I think our foodie culture these days is so strong because as a culture, we take such enjoyment in going out with friends and family and having a good time, trying that new special dish at some restaurant that just opened, or some artisan cocktail at the latest bar that just opened 2 weeks ago. It's like our national pastime after football and baseball. Food has become massive entertainment for us. Now, if you go out to eat 5 times a week, maybe cut it down to 3 and then to 2. I'm not saying cut it cold turkey because I think one has to enjoy life. Maybe sometimes bring your own lunch 3 or 4 days out of the week. Just pack a sandwich instead of going to the store and buying one for lunch. I think lunch these days can cost $15. So imagine cutting it down maybe 3 times per week, and then you have $45 that you just saved. In my experience, we can have just as good a meal, if not better, at a fraction of the cost if we eat at home or bring our own lunch. It just takes a little bit of foresight and a little bit of planning sometimes. When we go out to eat, we are paying a 300% markup on restaurant food compared to eating at home. So take, for example, every $30 that we spend out there, it only takes $10 to make at home. Now that is huge, and that adds up over time. And when you do go to a restaurant, don't throw good food away and let your server take your plate if you can't finish your meal. Take it home with you. You are paying a huge markup for the privilege to eat out. Save the remaining portion for lunch or a snack. Think about how much money you paid for that meal. Throwing those leftovers away is like throwing away your hard-earned dollars. In many ways, it's a disservice to yourself for all the hours you spend at your job to earn a living. By throwing that food away, it's like disrespecting the hard work and time you gave away in your life to get that hard-earned money. And would you ever throw money away? Probably not. Okay, my second way to save is to just buy things that are only on sale at the grocery store. There's always deals and sales going on every week. You can save a big chunk of money just by buying stuff on their weekly sale list. I remember I was at Costco with my buddy and he was gonna buy some sardines, but I noticed that there was a sale on them on a different brand. It was $3 off. Now you might not think $3 is a lot, but it all adds up. I think one of the best deals going in a grocery store is when you buy whole chicken that's on sale. In general, buying a whole chicken is actually cheaper compared to buying the chicken in different parts, say a drumsticks or chicken breasts. Buying a chicken in separate parts is many times triple or quadruple the amount comparing to buying a whole one. In my area, I see sales going for whole chickens around 89 cents per pound. And usually they're around 5 pounds each. So that's like $4.50 per bird. That's a whole bird that lasts me for an amazing 5 dinners. That's not even $1 per meal. First night I'll eat roast chicken, and the second or third it might be chicken pasta or chicken tacos. I think it's a totally versatile meat that you can really stretch over the week and create some amazing meals. Okay, moving on to the third way to save. Get rid of your car if you can. We see transportation make up 16% of our monthly expenses, which is actually pretty huge. By owning a car, we have to pay for gas, insurance, upkeep, which includes new tires, and many times a monthly car payment. If you live by public transportation or live in a city where you can get from place to place with ease, try to get rid of your car if you can part with that luxury, and take ride shares or even buy a bike. To be honest, I have yet to do this because when I was 16 years old and got my driver's license, having that car to drive meant freedom for me. But I do realize how much owning and maintaining a car can cost. And for those who really do need a car because you live in an area that requires it, get a cheaper and more reliable one and get rid of that luxury Benz, Beamer, or Audi. A few years back when I had a bunch of money, I was actually thinking of buying a luxury car to treat myself. So I called my friend who has owned a lot of them over the years to ask her for her opinion. She gave me the lowdown on how it's so great in the beginning to have that shiny new toy. But once that sucker hit 50,000 miles, it was all downhill from there. She mentioned a $2,500 radiator issue, then there was like another $8,000 transmission issue, and the list kind of went on and on and on until she couldn't handle owning that car anymore. I even asked my mechanic about his opinion on these luxury cars, and immediately he had a scowl on his face. I think he literally said they make them to break them these days. Okay, moving on to the fourth tip, and this should be a pretty easy one. Turn off your heat and lights during the night when you're going to sleep, or when you're especially not using them or you're going out for the night. There's no reason for them to be on, and it will save you a bunch of money. Now maybe when you go out, you're concerned you don't want people to know that nobody's home. Then leave one light on. If you look at this chart, the bulk of our utility expenses actually comes from electricity. So turn off those lights, turn off that heater when you're not using it. And finally, the fifth tip, and this is probably the biggest way to save. Move to a smaller place or get a roommate. If you live in a big place and you don't need all of it, downsize your apartment or house if you can. Rent a cheaper, smaller place. Remember that housing is the biggest expense everyone pays every month. We think we need to live in a big house with a bunch of rooms, but many times all we really need is a safe, clean, comfortable place to live. As long as you're comfortable, you don't have really low ceilings, you have natural good lighting, a smaller place is just more efficient and easier to take care of, and the utility bills will also be smaller as well. Now, if you live in a decent sized place and you have that extra room, get a roommate if you have that space. It doesn't need to be forever. It could be just for 6 months, but you can save big bucks. For me, this is where I saved the bulk of my 20 grand. I got a housemate because I had this extra bedroom that was just going to waste. And my buddy at the time, he was moving back to San Francisco from Vietnam. This is where I saved about $15,000 alone. We live in San Francisco, obviously the most expensive city in the US, and I rented a room to him for $1,250 a month. He got a great deal and I got a great housemate. Actually, we still live together today, and if you got a roommate, you can also cut your monthly utility bills in half, saving even more. Okay guys, leave me a comment on which one of these strategies you guys will try first. Please share if you think this video can benefit one of your friends, and please click the like button if you feel like you got any value from this. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos where I talk about what you should do with all your saved money. By investing your nest egg, you can grow it bigger and bigger over time, so eventually you can really do something meaningful with it. One of my teachers taught me that every dollar that we earn is a soldier. It's an employee that demands to be kicked out into the world and work hard for you to bring back a return. I wish you all well with much financial success. This is Jeff Juan, and I'll see you on the next one.